everybody, my name is Dude and welcome back to a Foretold affair. Why were we here again? We got taken to the police station, I think. Pretty sure we saved our future waifu from death at the hands of a gang member, and now we're at the cops' place. That sounds about like we're up to speed. Okay. The walk through the police station was filled with the scent of smoke, sweat, and oil. Not a pleasant experience. Lamp oil? Or like robot oil? Because, we're in a steampunk universe. There could be robots. And that would be kinda cool. Because I would like to know if they sing music. That'd be pretty cool. I pace back and forth, trying to keep my mind occupied as I wait for my Piper to return to me. As of now, only January and myself are here. Piper and the police people are having a discussion elsewhere. I was given the privilege to remain alone with January in this room because he was insistent on it. Admittedly, I felt some relief when they chose to leave us here rather than the actual holding cells we passed. I think this might be the captain's personal office. January appears nervous, though I can't imagine what he has to worry about in this situation. Some people can only think about themselves, I suppose. I mean, anything could happen. There's no reason to be concerned, right? Things will be fine. It sounds like he's speaking to himself more than to me. So, I don't respond. The door to the room opens, and to my great joy, Piper walks in. I rush to her immediately, though I still give her some space. We don't know her yet, she doesn't know us. It's totally cool to give space, we probably should. I missed you. She smiles a little at my words. I was only gone a few minutes, you know. I'm always miss being away from you. That's nice, but you really have more important things to worry about right now. With you is the only thing that matters to me. Romantic, but stop. Stop. Stop me. Buffalo Seer. Not me, Buffalo Seer. Right, stop Buffalo Seer. It's not... The future is not written in stone. You can't, like... You can see a possible future. Hell, you probably saw you murdering her. I don't know. I know you must be excited, what with your vision and all, but try to stay serious. This is a pretty big incident going on, and you've become swept up in it. Yes, you're right. I'm amazed at how intelligent and level-headed you are, but can I at least ask you a few more questions before we change the subject? She hesitates as if considering. Alright, go ahead. Will you marry me? She laughed softly again with a small smile. It's a little soon, don't you think? Maybe another time. I frown in disappointment, glad my mask conceals the look. I knew it would take time, but I still want to be there already. It's fine, I'll just ask again another time. Soon, probably. That way we can get engaged the moment you're ready and waste no time. I suppose, though since you're already ready, maybe you should wait for me to ask. You would propose to me? And sure, it's pretty common now. Well, it's becoming more common for the lady to propose to the guy. In this case, a lady to propose to another lady, which is even more common. That I hear more about that than I do, like, women asking men. It's not anything wrong with it, it's just... I never hear about it. I'd have to be the one to do it if you didn't. You have a point, and I think I quite like that idea. It's good. I won't ever ask again. And then we shut the fuck up. Piper's smile curls a little bit more. Glad to hear it. I mean that. So you're ready to propose? So you're really going to propose to me someday? I'm sure I won't mind. Now that was your one question. Right, there's a brief pause as I try to think of what to say next. So tell me about yourself. We don't have time for that. The police captain will be here any minute. Keep it brief, just a few highlights. It's fine. So that'll be fine. Since we're going to be married, we'll have plenty of time later to talk. It's obvious she's using that perspective as an excuse, but I have to admit it, she's right, as always. Maybe later would be best. That would probably have been the best solution, and we shouldn't have, like... I don't know. I mean, I'm glad we charged in and hugged her and said, "Hey, waifu!" That saved her life and stuff, but, this is creepy. This is a little creepy. Just a little bit creepy. The silence is drawn out as we wait for the captain. We don't have to wait long, however, as the door opens once more. Hi, Captain. Thank you for your patience, Duke January. After consulting with Officer Kia, We've decided that you should remain here under police protection until the threat of the capture has passed. We are also in the process of contacting the Walled Sanctuary to deal with you, Buffalo Seer. January folds his arms and begins noticeably tapping his foot, making his disapproval of the captain's plan obvious before even beginning to speak. Sorry to say, Captain, that I am far from thrilled to be kept here for such an extended period. I'd much prefer to leave as soon as possible. Be reasonable, Duke. We've thought this through and feel it's much safer than leaving. Exactly. Right now, the bounty on your head is no small sum. Though we are searching, we have yet to confirm who placed the bounty. Until they are found or rescind the offer, the hunters will not stop trying to find you. We'll do everything in our power to make sure the former happens, but until that time, you need to remain as inconspicuous as possible. Piper raised a hand to get our attention as he begins to speak. The captain's right about one thing. There's no bigger threat than Trinette. She is a highly successful bounty hunter with many followers and resources. However, Trinette obsesses over efficiency and getting things done as quickly as possible. That works in our favor. All you have to do is stay secure long enough that the cost of finding you outweighs the possible reward. Once that happens, she'll give up the chase. Cool! That is cool! I mean, how long would that be, though? I mean, I guess maybe a couple weeks if other bounty hunters are there, but then we have the problem of other bounty hunters doing that, and it's not good. It's not in our favor, no. In case you didn't realize, Trinette is that woman with the gun seen walking around the city earlier. The one that had a gun to you? Well, shit, maybe we should have fought instead of come to you, and then, well, you probably would have been hurt. We probably would have been hurt. The captain probably would have been hurt. And January would have probably been dead or something, I don't know. My hand involuntarily goes up to where my mouth is covered by my mask. I think that my Piper was being threatened by that dreadful woman. I'll never forgive her, even if I know she wasn't going to shoot. How do you know she wasn't going to shoot? Was this explained and I forgot it? Probably. Of course, everyone already knew that, I'm sure. He gives me a sidelong look, making it clear that that comment was from me. I give it no heed. But Trinette is awful. The way you stood up to her today, Piper, was truly inspiring. Not everyone could stare down a gun as you did. Piper shows no reaction to my comments, and before I can go on, someone else speaks up. Excuse me, but how long do you think I'll have to wait? A couple weeks, maybe a month if it's an amazing offer. A group can't go much longer than that without collecting a reward. Oh. In the tone of his voice, it's clear that it is much longer than he was hoping for. Come on now, you can tolerate being here for a few weeks. Maybe not, cause as nice as this place is, I'd go a bit stir-crazy after a month. Of just one room. Well, okay, one building. Then again, I do that anyway. It's called a house. It'd be called an apartment, but yeah, I live in a house at the moment. Well, as you all saw, staying in a populated area is no deterrent for Trinette, even the capital. Since that's the case, and most of your officers are tied up looking for the one who made the bounty, I don't think it's entirely unreasonable if January stayed elsewhere as long as it's secure. Pleased to hear you suggest that. In that case, I would prefer to go back home. It is certainly well protected. Kia shakes their head. That is a dumb idea, because if they know where you live, then you're dead. And if you have guards, they'll probably be dead too, so... Don't. Just stay here, maybe. Isn't that what you're talking about on the surface? That's another thing. There'll be nothing but a sitting duck down there. I didn't realize your house was off the land fraction, Duke. I sided with Kia on this one. If any group knew you went there, it's unlikely you'd complete the trip. And if you did, they'd probably find you and murder you, and it's not good. We've said that a bunch of times anyway. Clearly that is not an option. I repeat my offer of police protection. If the station is not suited to your liking, we can arrange other accommodations nearby. January looked hardly satisfied with that alternative. Can't blame him. A life surrounded by police would be unpleasant indeed. Yeah, very well. Can I go to my home on the surface? My family owns another property that is also quite secure. Where is that? It's on the other side of the land fraction. The three consider a moment, with Kia and Piper both nodding. That'd be less obvious than going to your main house on the surface. And at least on the land fraction, there are ways to keep out of sight. It's true. I would say that it's the better option of the two. Glad you all agree. I would like to go there then. I don't wish to be a burden to the police any longer, and frankly I am hardly worried about the bounty hunters myself. The disruption they cause is far more grievous. It is the job of the police to take care of the citizenry, so you need never mind inconveniencing us. I would much prefer you remain here. Sorry, but I would prefer to leave. As much as I appreciate your assistance, you cannot rightly compel me to remain. If I wish to leave, that is my decision. Okay, but we gotta, get you over there. That's an important thing. Captain Grumble is looking a bit put out. I can't disagree, as I am to admit it. At least give me some peace of mind by taking some kind of escort with you. I can quickly round up what officers are available, and they'll be happy to accompany you. Excuse me, sir, but I don't think that would be such a good idea. What do you mean? Police escort would be a bad idea, because you're a bounty. They would know they're escorting somebody of importance. Maybe the Duke. That would be bad. So maybe one undercover cop, and then maybe a couple other people. And then disguise the fuck out of you, because they know what you look like. Large group might offer the semblance of security, but it's also much easier to find. Because Trinette is armed, avoiding fights in the first place should be the priority. Not to mention that to cross the land fraction, one has to go through some narrow and unstable places. A large group will be more hindrance than help there. In my opinion, the Duke's best chance is to go with a small group and finish the trip as quickly as possible. That's the point, Captain. Besides, you need more help here to track down the ones who placed the bounty. No matter the number of hunters, if the bounty disappears, they'll have much less of a reason to keep the Duke, even if they get a hold of him. Piper nods. If you'd like to do more, perhaps you should create a distraction here in the city, giving us a chance to slip out without being noticed. Such as some kind of false escort party going in the opposite direction of us. Then have the Duke take a few people and rush to his house as fast as he can. That's a good idea. I like that. A little bit of, misdirection. I like it. Oh, I wonder how all that'll go. Do everything on our end to make it as appealing a target as possible. Since the group is aiming to be low profile, I will assign Officer Kia to you. Well, they're here on an undercover assignment anyway, so no citizen will recognize them as a police officer. Good! The plan is settled! I understand. Who else will be assigned? It's not much trouble, so I'd like to come. I know the area outside the city well, and have the most experience with bounty hunters out of this bunch. Would 4 be... Is 4 enough? Because I'm imagining Buffalo Seer is gonna go too. And, 4 is kind of a... I would think that's a bit of a crowd, but maybe 4 is not an uncommon travel party. For, times like this. Janeway looks satisfied with the arrangement, smiling contentedly. Yes, us 4 should make a fine traveling party. Piper, Kia, and the captain look at one another in confusion. You want only one more officer? Certainly not. 1 is enough, I think. I mean that Seer will be joining us. That makes 4. All of them stare at me with mixed emotions. For a moment, I'm unsure how to react. He wants me to come? How odd as it is, I appreciate the invitation. Piper is going, so it's not as though I could bring myself to stay behind. Yeah, I would want to come as well. I kind of expected I would be going. No, you will not. We are in the process of contacting the sanctuary, and I can't have you out of my sight until then. I mean, Kia's watching me? Is that a problem? Is that a problem? Contacting them will do no good, Captain. You see, Seer is normal. What? Almost everyone shows obvious shock at this unexpected revelation. None more than me. Thankfully, my mask hides my expression. The only one who doesn't look surprised is Piper, who merely frowns in consternation. Consternation. Right. Okay, word I can read now. What? Please explain yourself. Janeway quickly gives me a look, then faces the captain. Seer is actually one of my bodyguards sent by my family. They are dressed this way. Oh, I see what you're doing. I'm not one of your bodyguards. Thank you. Seer is actually one of my bodyguards sent by my family. They are dressed this way to serve as a more enticing target, since an abnormal is likewise a rare sight and worth much more to the sanctuary than others. They were separated during the initial attack, and Seer ran to try and draw attention away from me. Obviously it worked. Yeah, it totally worked and stuff. And I can also see the future. So you see, Seer is a personal protector. There should be no problem with them accompanying us. Why are you covering for me, though? Piper can't fully conceal her smirk, and has to place a hand over her mouth to stifle her laughter. Why are you letting Kia's eyes show outrage? You were saying all that was an act. I think this right here is an act, but... All eyes turn to me again, and I subtly look to January, who scrupulously avoids my eye. With a concealed smile, I nod. The Duke is right. The ruse was somewhat complicated, but it did throw off suspicion, as you can all see. Are they gonna ask me to remove my mask? Because I don't want to do that. I'd imagine we don't want to do it. I want to see it. I want to see Buffalo Seer's face, but that might be like a thing that would prove that I'm abnormal. I don't know. We'll find out, maybe. January nods back, looking pleased, which is nice, but infinitely more importantly, Piper seems to have no qualms with my response. She continues to observe with a smile on her face. The negativity emanating from Kia is hard to ignore, however. So running in front of a gun for the sake of a stranger was also part of the act? As a bodyguard, I feel compelled to help those in danger. Kia dramatically slaps both their hands over their eyes. They begin to open their mouth to speak again when they get cut off by the captain. Duke January, such a ruse is far from acceptable. Making the populace believe in abnormalism among us could cause widespread issues. You cannot allow your people to act in such a manner. I do apologize, Captain, but considering the situation that the bounty hunters caused, I hardly consider Seer's disguise unwarranted. Still, I will make sure not to let it happen again. Kia narrows their eyes. I keep saying her. It's a they. I keep saying they in the text, and I keep reading as her. I'm sorry. Kia narrows their eyes at both January and me. I don't believe that for a second. Captain looks at them with a shrug. It is rather unorthodox, but not impossible. It is better than the idea that an abnormal came all the way here to Mier. The two lean in and begin to whisper. They must not realize my hearing is not as bad as these clothes would make it seem. Can't openly accuse him of lying. Even if we're right, the chance of successfully making a case of it is small. So just get them tested. A conclusive test will make a strong enough defense. January, who must have overheard too, clears his throat loudly. Since the party has been decided, I would like to leave first thing tomorrow morning. I trust that won't be a problem for you, Captain. I would rather not be delayed just for your unwarranted suspicions. If that doesn't satisfy you, Officer Key, you are welcome to stay behind. There's no need for that, Duke. I'm sure Officer Key is more than willing to remain with the group. If you wish to leave tomorrow, that can be arranged. Thank you, sir. Since the rest of Seer's things were left behind when we fled the hotel, they will remain dressed as they are until we get back to my house and can change. We don't really have time to get anything else. Okay, thank you. I still would like to see what Buffalo Seer looks like without the mask, but okay, fine. And he gives a heavy sigh but nods. Very well. I can have rooms prepared for you and Seer to sleep here tonight, where you'll be safe until morning, at least. Officer Key, why don't you return home and prepare? I recommend the same to you, Miss Piper. The two of you can rejoin us here at dawn tomorrow. Thank you for your offer, though I would like Seer to remain with me in the same room. Of course. He gives me one last leer before departing, and I stick my tongue out underneath my mask. But she can't see it, though. Fuck. Need to get used to that. Piper gives us a small wave. I feel warm inside whenever she gives me attention. Sleep well, you two. Should be a busy day tomorrow. I'm sure it will be. I wave back at her as she leaves, which she pretends not to notice. Probably a good idea now that I'm supposed to be January's bodyguard. Please follow me to your room. He nods cordially to January and me and then leaves. I'm now alone with the Duke, and all I want to do is ask why. Before I can finish another thought, January speaks to me in a low voice. I'm sure you might imagine, but just to be clear, if anyone tries to speak to you without my presence, do not allow it. Insist that you have nothing to say and cannot leave my side. I must also mention that there are many individuals in this building who could just happen to overhear what other people are saying. Because of that, we should refrain from conversation until tomorrow, lest there be any more misunderstandings. Agreed? Right. So deflect questions unless I'm with the guy with the very nice monocle and... what are those? Binoculars? Little binoculars? Those are cool. On a monocle. Or double monocle, because I do have bad eyesight in both eyes. I guess you'll have to wait, it seems. Tomorrow can't come soon enough. Now Piper and I will have to have the whole trip to be together. Excitement building. I didn't read that as excitement, I read that as excrement. Excrement building! I followed January out of the room after the police captain. I shouldn't have had Taco Bell! The morning on the rise, January and I are once more ushered into the captain's room from the day before. Can't say I enjoyed the police station's accommodations. Why? What happened? However, in the grand scheme of things, it was only a minor inconvenience. What was wrong with it? I mean, it had some books, a chair. Well, this is the captain's room, so it didn't have all that in our room. But it had a record player? That's awesome! I want a record player. I want records to play. I don't have any. I think my family had some, but like they were sold or something. I don't know. I think a lot of them were sold. So I try to stretch out the kinks that developed over the night. I noticed January. His brow is furrowed as he appears nervous. I can even hear him whispering to himself. It's going to be fine. I'm going to make it through this. What is that about, January? It's just things have not worked out as I could have expected, that's all. But I shouldn't be worried, right? Indeed. Well, it seems he answered his own question. I should hope so. Not many people could have as much confidence as you. Or are you always worrying so much anyway? January pauses and considers my question. I suppose it's simply a force of habit after all this time. I'm just very careful with my decisions. The light seems to come into his eyes, and he nods with great emphasis. I need to stop this. I'm wasting your generosity and a great opportunity to do more with my life. From now on, I will no longer allow hesitation to hinder me. Yes, I'll be a participant for once. That boy! What are we talking about? I have no idea what we're talking about, but good on you. You do you. You do that thing. Whatever that is, I hope it doesn't hurt anybody. Unless it's the people that tried to hunt you for the bounty on your head. In which case, smash their faces in. This little speech seemed directed more towards himself, making me merely an observer. I just shrug and leave him to his own epiphany, turning away and looking out a window to the back wall to see if I can spot Piper coming back. Excuse me, seer? There's no sign of Piper, so I reluctantly turn back to rejoin the conversation. Yes? Well, since you have been so helpful for me, I was wondering if you would like to stay at my house after all this is over. For a moment, I am speechless over this bizarre offer. January quickly fills in the silence. I suppose I best elaborate. Well, with you knowing about my family's multiple properties now, I don't mean the safe house. The one Officer Kia will be escorting us to. I mean my actual home, the one on the surface. Oh. This is a great deal of extra space. I'd rather not. There's nothing for me on the surface. Yes, that's true. There is not much there. You can always consider that a place to stay if the need arises. It's really not a wise idea to invite a stranger to live at your house. I thought you were supposed to be a careful man. He probably deems Buffalo Seer trustworthy after a while. His eyes drift away from my mask and he smiles shyly. I'm trying to change. I just know the offer stands. And if you're asking that question of a person who's offering you a home or a place to stay, then that answers the question of whether or not you're trustworthy. enough to do that. So the consideration's important. But yeah, that is a bit shady to just offer that to somebody. I shrug again, once more, turning once more to the window. Words. Hopefully that will be the last time he calls me back into a conversation. Just then the door opens and Piper and Officer Kia enter. Piper's smiling pleasantly, but Kia looks like a storm cloud has settled above her eyes. They glare at us, but ask not inhospitably if we slept well. It was serviceable. We appreciate having been allowed to stay for the night. January looks non-committal, but quite succeeding at a smile. I managed. I don't say out loud how much I miss Piper. I try to imply it in my inflection, tilting my head towards her. Despite being the one who asked, he shows no outward reaction to our answers. They clearly have no desire to be a part of this. Piper frowns. What a dour lot this group is today. I mean... Be sure to perk yourselves up soon. This is only the beginning. I will perk up as soon as I get coffee in my face. Don't throw it at me, just let me drink it in peace. How would I drink coffee if I have a mask in front of me? Do I remove the mask? Do I just take a straw? Are straws even a thing in this world? Does the mask have a flap? Or a mouthpiece that I can... How does this work? Does the mask extend far out of the face so I can do that? How do I eat? In private? Do I need to eat? Do I need to drink? Do I need sleep? Do I need to defecate after Taco Bell? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we have a little, nose piece, but that's probably, the nose of the buffalo rather than has a function. Do we stick it through the eye hole? I mean, do we just kind of stand out in the sun and photosynthesize? I must agree. I'm not seeing many productive attitudes in this room. Coffee. At least 3 people in this room are human. Coffee is great. Coffee would be lovely. It's probably a good idea to start making some coffee, Kia, or Captain, whoever happens to have the coffee around. Or tea, whatever is preferable, but I would love coffee. Coffee is great. Sweet as hell, as I like it. January tries again to smile while Kia only rolls their eyes. Shrugging off the response from those two, I decide to move closer to Piper. She makes no move acknowledging me, but doesn't move away either. She doesn't even look my way. At first I'm a bit distressed, but then I remember I am supposed to be January's bodyguard now. I can't blame her for not paying the situation much attention. Kia then places their hands on their hips in that tritely authoritative stance and begins to speak. Yes. Since we're leaving soon, now's the time for me to explain the plan. Once we leave Mier, we'll be following one of the major rivers that cut through the land fraction. That is the smoothest route for some distance. We'll push on until it starts to get dark, then move and look for a suitable place to stop, preferably with some covering. At first light, we'll resume the journey, and if all goes well, we should arrive at January's house by evening the second day. At latest, we'll arrive early the next morning. He looks at us as if silently asking if we got the message. We all nod and they continue. Once we leave the city, the police will send out their decoy, hopefully confusing the bounty hunters into thinking they have the Duke with them. Our ride is already prepared for us outside the city limits, stocked with more than enough supplies to last us the trip. It was arranged away from the station to make it seem more like it was simply a normal travelers. We'll be walking through the city using back alleys and side streets to be seen as little as possible. So far, so good? Again, y'all nod. At least y'all can listen. It'll be important during the trip. Now, Duke January and his bodyguard... You don't believe us, do you? You don't believe, do you? Well, you're right, but still, a little trust would be nice. Just saying. Bodyguard will be riding in a steam carriage. Piper will also join you. I'll be riding in the front in a gadabout. What a relief. Both vehicles have a radio that will let us communicate with each other and back to the station as well. However, their range is limited, so once we reach the ruins at about the middle of the land fraction, we'll be too far to reach back here to Mier. Hopefully by that point it won't matter. Not the best equipment for the city police. I used to have radios in my travels that could reach all the way to the surface and still work. Well, most of our good radios are being used for other duties. Those are simply the radios that are attached to those vehicles, and they will be plenty good enough for a 2-day trip. Edward shrugs. Don't mind, I was just saying. Fine? Yeah, it is just a peach that you're so technologically savvy. You're driving. That's just fine with me. I'd be happy to, in fact. Good. As for you, Seer, I want you to keep an eye out the back for the carriage for any trouble, and do your best to take care of your boss. Of course. Duke, the only thing I need you to do is stay low and out of sight as much as possible. The less you're seen, the better. January actually frowns at this task. That is all there is for me to do? I mean, like, we could man the radio. Trust me, a target not getting seen by bounty hunters is the biggest job of any of us. Especially for someone as tall as you are. Heh. You are tall. You are very tall. That's not even a joke. Hey, the curse of being tall. You're either always seen or always asked to help somebody reach the top shelf of something. Well, the morning is wasting away. Better get a move on. I'm going to save here and stop. Save here. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe for more. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you to T-Cover, Stro, and love you all for supporting me on Patreon this month. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye! Yeah! Yeah! Okay. There we go. There we go. Oh, it's definitely a thing, Shaman. Potatoes are the only way to make sure your head is in perfect working order. Potatoes will fix anything.